Hello and welcome to my channel. I have swamp ass so severe that you can find Atreyu's horse down there.
Why?
Because
Why?
it seemed like a good way to open this. Hello, welcome to my channel. This is par for the course. Just clearing out all the people that can't handle our humor right away.
Yeah, apparently you're having trouble clearing other things out too. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, no, okay. So there's
I had no warning, by the way,
Yeah,
that
no.
was going to happen.
No, I thought about warning you, but then you were like under your desk the entire countdown.
I was very busy under my desk.
Yeah.
Doing
trying to clean up your swamp ass.
Yes.
No, I'm going away to Toronto for the weekend, and I might lose a good chunk of Friday to traveling. And so I've been working extra. And so I've been sitting in this chair all day. When I haven't been sitting in this chair, it's been walking up my treadmill at the desk. So walking on a treadmill doesn't make the swamp ass go away.
No, it doesn't. I can't do the treadmill at the desk thing. I just can't. But I do go to the gym, and it's not comfortable sometimes.
That's what cornstarch is for, man.
Arm & Hammer. It works just as well.
Yeah, but cornstarch is cheaper. I think.
Is it?
I don't know. That's what I use when I was in restaurants. Also,
yeah.
Diaper rash cream. If you ever forget the cornstarch, makes things go away overnight.
Huh.
This is a delightful way to open the stream.
Anybody who's worked retail for more than 8 or 10 hours a day, though, has probably had this conversation in their head.
Yeah.
Like, guess what, everybody? People chafe, and it sucks.
Die-hard anime otaku 15 says, but Cirrus, wiping is gay, didn't you know?
No, that's why you're supposed to go get a Hoover for it.
I have a bidet. Which, if anything, that's even more gay than wiping. Is like it feels like somebody is licking my ass clean.
Whatever you're into, man, I can't.
I'm into not having shit stuck to my bum. And bidets just do better at cleaning it off than toilet paper.
It's true. This is why I have a set of antiseptic wipes there, too.
Yeah. Okay.
Same idea.
All right.
We're just talking shit right now.
I've got people gifting subscriptions in my thing. I haven't really been keeping up with the notifications over there. Wow, 20 Twitch viewers. That's got to be a record. Your stream must have gone down or something.
Yeah.
And Freedom Inc. I think gifted cause I don't know why is it bouncing around like that? It didn't used to do that. Freedom Inc. is gifting. Oh, is Freedom Inc. Are you just gifting everybody subscriptions?
Yeah, that's the best. So the best thing to do is
thank you Freedom Inc. I appreciate
over on Twitch, just clicking the button that lets you pop out the activity feed, and then just being like, "Oh, you gifted 10 subs, cool," and then moving on.
Yeah, I normally do that, but I forget. Oh, apparently I have a hype train. I should probably pay attention to my Twitch sometimes.
You for gore?
Oh shit! No, don't do that. Oh, your stream's still down. Okay, so it's fine that I did that.
Yeah, my stream's dead.
That's why I got all the viewers on Twitch. Nice.
My OBS isn't even online right now. It crashed, and I got a lovely message saying the OBS WebSocket is broken. Would you like to copy the problem into your clipboard? Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but sure.
All right, so let's get these notification thingies done. Not 6 days ago. 20 minutes ago, Death of Death followed. Wolf. Yeah, those are just follows. And then Eddie127 resubscribed. Thank you, Eddie. Freedom Inc. gifted 4 community subs. Thank you, Freedom Inc. And that got me a hype train. So, yay.
Hype train's good.
Hype train's good, whatever that is. Whatever that means.
It's the incentive program so that more people will give you more money.
I know. Okay, so with that out of the way, I'm sure Project Share is going to love this transition, but I should probably say how much we raised on the fundraiser. In previous years, we've always blown past our goal. This year, we didn't quite do that, but we did eke past it. We got $10,145 out of our $10,000 goal. So y'all didn't let me down. I'm proud of you. And the cumulative total, I just did the math on this today, since I started doing this fundraiser in 2019, we've raised over $72,000 for Project Share. So
now Rhino doesn't have to find all of your addresses and hurt you.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that for legal reasons.
Yeah. Jassa says, you said we couldn't do it. Why? What? Why is that not popping up? Okay, my Twitch chat highlighter thingy doesn't seem to be working right now, and I don't feel like fixing it. So that's Jassa Proxy says you said we couldn't do it. I did. That was my way of goading you into doing it. And it worked. So I will be doing that again next year. Yeah, but we got a lot to cover today. So
and we spent the first 10 minutes talking about shit.
Swamp ass. Okay, so we're gonna start on an annoying note. Where are my buttons?
How annoying are we talking?
Yeah, trans bathroom crap. Speaking of
I just
covered
bidets. Trans bat, like literally the thing I was covering as my stream died.
Well, it wasn't this exact news.
Crap. It wasn't this exact one. No, it was a turf blog.
Okay, so this one was sent to me by Jacqueline. If you have a news item that you think belongs on this show, you can send it to news@vicerhino.com. So thank you, Jacqueline, for that. So this is sorry. The way the headline is written, it makes it sound like this school is called Trans Francis Howell, which would be awesome, but it's not.
Or somebody's title is Trans Francis Howell.
Mm-hmm.
I am the esteemed Trans Francis Howell.
Naramdaputs is now a supporting member for 3 months. It says, finally I can give money to a more deserving source instead of the fundraiser. Ooh, Naramdaputs. Boo. But also thank you. So the school is Francis Howell. So trans Francis Howell students say proposal would make bathrooms worse. So there's a proposal on the board proposed by the board treasurer Jane Puskar, that would require students to use bathrooms and locker rooms that aligned with the sex of their birth certificates.
Oh, I have information on not this specific thing, but because I was just covering the trans bathroom thing, there was a study done at Harvard that actually showed that there is a 36% rate of sexual assault in teen bathrooms when trans people are forced to be in the bathroom of their sex, basically. The rate that trans teens are sexually assaulted is 36%. So almost 4 out of every 10 trans kids getting assaulted in bathrooms.
Yeah.
That's the numbers people want.
Yeah, that's pretty terrible, and we're gonna get to that. It doesn't say sexual assault in this article, but we're definitely gonna cover something similar to that. Also, if you could send me a link to that article so I can add it to my list of trans-related research, which can be found at research.vicerhino.com. That'll take you to a Linktree list that is like a bunch of, it's mostly peer-reviewed scientific studies about various trans issues that get covered by the right wing all the time. It's stuff like trans people actually exist, sex is bimodal, not binary, the regret rate of surgery is like the lowest for any surgery ever.
There you go.
Stuff like that.
Okay. I just sent it to your Discord.
I will add it to the list.
I had it up from then.
I will add it to the list.
From when I crashed.
Sex and Sensibility. That's a really good video by Forest Proxy. God damn it. Is Jassa Proxy sending me that?
Forest Valkai?
It is Forest Valkai that I'm talking about.
Forest Proxy?
Yeah, Sex and Sensibility by Forest Valkai. Excellent video. Definitely take a look at that. Yeah.
On my fun fact, on that video specifically, not on this phone, because when I upgraded my phone, I lost this page and I hated it. But I had on my old phone a document that was literally nothing but notes that I took just from that video, so that I could be like, when I need, because my memory is awful. But every single time a factoid was brought up in that video that I'm like, I need that for when I'm live, jotted it down in the notes, had it ready, and it was a helpful resource. I need to make it again.
That's why I put together the Linktree list that I did, because I kept on having these same arguments with people and then forgetting which studies I was looking at for. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put it all on a list and then be like, here you go. It's on the list. Go read it.
Reminds me of that H Bomber guy segment where he was like, oh yes, all those studies saying trans people are valid, kind of like these ones, and then just like a billion studies go by and he has them all linked in a paste bin afterwards.
I love H Bomber guy. He's great.
He is. I had to make a video about his newest video because it made me feel things. Yeah, it so I talked about this in my video. I kind of want to splurge on it for just a second because we're here. Why not? But when he talked about the Illuminati stuff, there was a thing that always hit me with Illuminati stuff where I went, this is the type of stuff that I want to be able to make at this rate. She's making videos at the same rate that I do videos off of my live streams. And this is the quality that I wish I could hit at this rate. And why can't I do this? I was so frustrated with myself.
She's just copying stuff. Yeah.
And it was, she's literally just copying everything. I'm like,
yeah,
that's why she's able to do it.
I remember really enjoying her stuff, but, like we've talked about her on the stream, and I think I referenced her as being like, oh yeah, she's awesome. Actually, I remember that it actually started with me not being able to remember her name. So I was like, oh, the person with the avatar that's like the pyramid head.
Yeah, Blair.
But yeah, no, it was that was disappointing. But again, like like H Bomber guy wasn't the person to break that news. I was already kind of aware at that point.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to this. One of the issues that I wanted to discuss here is that this person was elected to the school board with funding from a conservative PAC.
That should be illegal.
Yeah, no, PACs should not be able to donate to school board people, like school board elections or whatever. And there's 7 people on the school board. 5 of them were funded by this PAC. So that's what, like, this is one of those things where it's like, it's not just the presidential elections that matter. You got to look at all the elections, the local elections. Even if you don't have kids in the school system, you do your best to like figure out who's on the school boards and vote for the ones who aren't going to do shit like this.
It's frustrating because you hear from one side of the mouth of a ton of Republican politicians, keep politics out of our education. There's a liberal agenda in education. You hear this.
They say they say that, but it's only ever the conservative PACs that are funding the school board elections.
It's almost like one side is going, well, let's let the chips fall as they may, and another side is going, let's force things through so we can pretend the world is 6,000 years old. And
the worst part about this, though, is like I'm saying, like, pay attention to your local school board elections and stuff like that. But it's fucking hard to parse the school board elections and like the smaller elections because it's not like in the state and federal elections. Generally, R is the bad guy, D is the good guy. D might not be as good as you would like, but it's better, way fucking better than R. School board elections, they're not party affiliated. They don't have to say, hey, I'm a Republican when they're running for the school board. They just say, hey, my name is Jane Puskar.
And they'll be like, I care about common sense education and bringing us back to our roots. And you're just like, that sounds reasonable. I like that. And then you realize when they mean back to our roots, they're talking about segregation or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's incredibly hard to parse out at that level. So like on the one hand, I want to be like, vote in your local school board elections, even if you don't have kids in the school. But on the other hand, it's like, I understand, like as someone with ADHD, having the follow through necessary to do the appropriate research on school board candidates to make sure I'm voting for the right one is a fucking daunting task. So like, I understand that there is a level of like I don't want to be ableistic and be like, oh no, anyone can vote in the school board elections. Because no, I understand there are like legitimate mental health issues that can make that incredibly difficult for someone. But at the same time, it's so fucking important.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why, like that specifically, when you talk about the ADHD thing, it's one of the reasons why a lot of my research I'll do passively as I'm doing something else. I'll either be listening to a documentary or listening to an audiobook or anything like that, because it's easier for me to focus on that than it is for me to bring up a study and go, okay, I can't just read the abstract and the conclusion. I need to look at more than that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the methodology is flawed and you don't know that if you don't read it.
Oh, but one of my favorite things about ADHD is when you do start reading studies and you get hyper-focused on them, and then you find like interconnections between other studies that you've read in the past, and then you find like, oh, there's this one sketchy thing here, and then that leads you down a rabbit trail of sketchiness that you're like uncovering things and you feel like an investigative reporter.
And then you want to tell everybody about it and nobody fucking cares.
Yeah, but I'm the one that controls my videos, so like, yeah, nobody might watch it, but I still get to make the video and put it out in the world.
That's kind of where I got today. There was a post I saw on Twitter with a PhD person reposting something about anime turning people trans, and I was like,
oh God,
I want to investigate this guy. So I found out about his politics and everything, but I found out he wasn't the one who wrote the article. So then my interest in him died away. I'm like, I don't care about you anymore, Blanchard. You're not important to me now. The writer of the article is important to me now. Oh, the writer of the article got suspended from Medium. Okay, cool. Let's go track them down. Okay, I figured out where they post their blog now. Oh, they've changed their name to something else. Okay, and then after all of that, I went, now that we're 5 minutes into the video, guys, now we can talk about the turf blog, because this was the investigation I did on the treadmill this morning.
Nice.
So I understand, because I've been there. In different ways, but I've been there.
Okay. Ordinary man fishing. There's a couple typos at the beginning, which I'm going to have trouble with. Already compla inediblet. I'm not sure what that's supposed to say. Cirrus and I are accepted you being live rhino, not an avatar, but why no bow tie? I have a bow tie in my regular videos. This is like, I'm wearing pajama pants with no underwear right now. Because like
he's already going commando for you. What more do you want?
I showered just before the stream, and I got out, and I looked in our pile of clean laundry because both me and my partner have ADHD, so the laundry almost never gets folded and put away, and I couldn't find underwear, and I'm like, fuck it. Nobody's going to see that.
Fair.
I mean, I'm wearing a collared shirt, though, so that's fancy schmancy, right?
It's at least that.
Underneath my hoodie.
I can't do the
merch.vicerhino.com. Can I
plug it up?
Plug my merch.
I can't do the not folding laundry thing because if I don't fold it, my cats get on it, and I'm allergic to my cats. So when their fur gets all in it, I can't. I had to throw away all of my shirts when I developed my cat allergy. I had to throw away all of my shirts and replace them with polyester because polyester doesn't have cat fur stick to it as much. So I used to not care about whether the laundry was folded and put up. I no longer have that luxury.
Okay, so back to this horrible piece of shit. So we got students going to the school board meetings, getting behind the podium and speaking to adults about like, hey, I'd like to just be able to use the washroom, please. Like, how, like, what at what point in that interaction do you not realize you're the bad guy if you're proposing policies that has children feel like they need to get up in front of a room of people and be like, can I please just use the washroom in peace?
Like, so the thing is, it has to be one of two things. It has to be one of two things. Either the cruelty is the point, or they've got a hero complex and they think they're saving women. It has to be one of the two things. So
one of the points that they make here is that this policy would require that schools have at least one. Now they call them where is it? They call them single use restrooms, but I think what they mean is single user
or single user,
like one toilet,
not like a porta potty that you burn when you're done.
Yeah, I'm like single use washroom. That sounds incredibly wasteful and expensive. Like, but one of the problems is like that they outline later on in the article is that, well, first off, like if you're not comfortable going into the bathroom, that you're like, if you're a trans boy and you pass as a boy, nobody knows you're trans. They just all know you as a boy. But suddenly you will only use the single toilet. That now outs you.
Yeah. that's one of the reasons that when I was covering the turf article earlier today before my internet and computer exploded, I kind of basically went on a rant of my girlfriend is trans, but my girlfriend passes, to the point where one of my friends who was very, very conservative went, "Hey, is she pregnant?" Because she was having stomach issues, like she was throwing up. And he thought, like, "Hey, that's a sign of pregnancy. Is everything okay? Have you guys gotten checked?" Like, it's why would I expect her to go to the fucking dude's room? But why?
Ordinary Man Fishing says, "Sorry, Rhino, I'm 8 pints in at this stage," so that explains the spelling.
Rhino gets 8 pints in by the end of every show.
No, I don't. Not like. Okay. I've gone back to the baby cans.
So you lose track is what I'm hearing.
No, I've gone back to the baby cans because I found it was too easy to overindulge a little bit with the bigger cans. Because I like when it's in front of me, I just drink. Now, but yeah, so it's easier to drink less and like, whatever. Anyway. Yeah, so these kids are getting up there and saying it's discriminatory, it's going to cause a lot of harm. There's one kid get up there and talks about the medical issues that he dealt with because he was so afraid of using the washroom at school.
If you're sitting there literally just holding it in, you're just going to hurt yourself.
Well, because he'd be at school from 6:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. because he has theater activities after school and he's got stuff in the morning, and he wouldn't use the washroom the entire time. And so he ended up with urinary tract issues.
So, like, I know for a fact I can't do that. When I've got to go, it is time to go. And there's no question about it. I can't imagine being in that position where my body is screaming at me, sometimes painfully, "Hey, get the fuck out of here." And you just can't because you're worried about bad things happening to you when you go.
Yeah, and it's terrible.
And the worst part is there are people who will go, "Well, that's how women feel. They're terrified of going into the bathroom because that's where the men who think they're women are." And then you have to point out to them, like, that's not what the data shows, though. The data shows that's not what happens.
The data shows there is one instance in like all of history. Well, not all of history, but like in the last like 25 years, there was one instance of a man dressing up as a woman to enter a woman's space to assault a woman. And that was in Toronto, and it was before they allowed trans women into women's spaces. So it was already illegal for him to do what he did.
It's almost as if putting up a sign, and going to say something very, very horrible, putting up a sign, "Please don't rape me," does not stop a rapist.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. So to think that it's going to stop somebody who wants to cross-dress and assault you, I'm sorry, but that legal veneer, that's going to be nothing but security theater. It's not going to actually make you safer. It makes you feel safer. The difference is
it's like how the airline stuff happened after 9/11. Like
taking off your shoes doesn't make you safer.
No.
This is why we point to the data all the time when this happens to go, look, your security theater bullshit is only hurting people as evidenced by the data. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care if you're offended. I care what the thing says.
You're getting close to being Ben Shapiro on the left here, buddy. Facts don't care about your feelings, buddy.
I'm kind of okay with that when it comes to something like this, though.
I mean, when the facts are actually on your side, it works. And yeah, unfortunately for Ben, they're usually not on his side, as we'll see later on in this stream. Spoiler.
When people go like, what if the example that was given in the article was like, when you point out that it's the same thing as the segregation ideas between white and black people, when you try to force trans people into a bathroom they don't identify with, they were like, I think that would be offensive to black people. And my only response was, I don't think I care. I don't think I care about that. I think I care about lowering sexual assault numbers more than I care about a couple people's fifis.
Yeah. So yeah, this is where we get Collins also says he's received threats from other students and even was once assaulted in a woman's restroom at the high school, the same restroom where the new policy would require him to use. And he reported the incident, which involved a female student, but it was mostly ignored. So the fact that they care about theoretical people being assaulted when real people have been assaulted, reported it, and then basically told to go away is kind of horrendous.
They care about make-believe more than they care about reality.
That's putting it incredibly mildly. Like, no, it is a reality that trans people get assaulted when they use the washroom, especially when they're forced to use the washroom that does not align with their gender identity. So by forcing them to use the one that doesn't align with their gender identity, you are actually making washrooms more dangerous for trans people and not safer for any cis people. That's just the facts, and the facts don't care about your feelings. Yeah, to quote Cyrus earlier.
I'm okay in situations like this. I'm okay with that. I'll take it.
And yeah, there are other kids that like they would typically ask to use the washroom during class when there's a chance that there's nobody going to be in there, but then they're missing class. And especially with the solution of like having the single stall restrooms. Later on we get to one person that's talking about like, yeah, our school has one, but it's so far away from everything that for me to use that during class, I'm missing 10 minutes of class, and I don't have time to use it in between classes because we only have 5 minutes in between classes, and it takes like 5 minutes just to walk there.
And as I remember from when I was in high school, a lot of your teachers, if you came to class late, whatever the reason, there'd be a reprimand that would happen, and then you'd probably get a note sent back to your parents. And
we get Francis Howell's proposed policy would mandate each school have at least one single-use restroom available to any sex or gender, so single-user restroom. But it does allow administrators to discipline students if they abuse the restrooms and are chronically late to class. So like if you constantly have to walk the 10 minutes down the hall to get to the one washroom you're allowed to use,
and you get punished for it,
and you only have 5 minutes in between classes, then you get disciplinary action for being chronically late because they didn't provide you with a washroom that was a reasonable distance from your classroom.
And these people are... Again, it is either that these people believe that they are saving women, because it's let's be honest,
they never talk about trans. They never talk about trans men in the men's room.
No, they never do. It's never part of their conversation. They either believe wholeheartedly they are saving women, and the data suggests they're not. Actually, fun fact, there's some evidence to show, and I had it linked in a video on a different subject a long time ago, but there's evidence to show that actually the alarmism around assault actually can produce more problems because people start taking any of their vigilance and aiming it the wrong way. Yeah,
you get the Karens that are transvestigating like everyone in the washroom, and they usually end up like calling the police on cis women.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, that person was a little bit manlier than I thought a cis woman should be, therefore she shouldn't be in the women's room. And so like policies like this hurt cis women as well.
The data that was where that data was taken from was actually studies on QAnon, where people would focus all of their efforts on shit like Pizzagate instead of actually being vigilant about possible predators.
Oh,
sometimes in their own family.
You mean like how that movie, The Sound of Freedom, portrayed child trafficking in a way that child trafficking doesn't actually happen, and so is distracting from the actual issue of child trafficking rather than doing anything to help? And
it's performative.
And also, if the organization that that movie was about actually operated in the way they portray in the movie, they were actually enabling child trafficking, because one of the things that they did was they would like rent a hotel and be like, oh, we want to buy lots and lots of children, so bring all the trafficked children here and you will get lots of money for it. So like there were children trafficked. They were expanding the market. They were like, there were children that were trafficked specifically to get them to that organization that would not have been trafficked otherwise.
Yep. It's so we have a lovely rule about that called Poe's Law, actually.
Yeah.
Take an extreme enough position, it is impossible for people to tell if you're faking it or if you are really doing that. And I've made the argument before that I believe that people who are people who are taking those extreme positions, for reasons of joking or otherwise, or just to piss people off online, are often just as bad as the people who are legitimately holding those positions, because they lightning rod that it's okay to have this position for those people.
Yeah. So Naramdaput says, wasn't the Sound of Freedom main character a sexual abuser? Yeah. The guy who founded that organization had to resign from it like shortly after the movie released, because it came out that when he would go on these sting operations, he would pressure women into like showering with him and sleeping with him because like, oh, we have to keep up the pretense of being a husband and wife couple. Did you not hear about that? Didn't we cover that on the stream?
I don't remember that at all. If it
might have been one of the weeks when you were gone.
It would have had to have been, because I feel like I would have remembered that. I remembered us covering the dude who helped fund it, coming out that there were issues with him, but I don't remember any of that.
No, it was the actual founder that he would tell women like, oh, we're on a sting operation to save these kids. So in order to do that, we have to stay in character the entire time, which means like we're supposed to be a couple on a romantic getaway. So we have to like shower together and sleep together. And
so it's garbage from the top to bottom.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Also, so the bathroom that's like 10 minutes away from all this person's classes. So can't use him in between classes. If he uses it during class, he is now missing 10 minutes of school when the other students aren't. So he's losing education for being trans. And then school buses leave 5 minutes after school lets out. So he doesn't have time to use the washroom then either. And then if you've ever been on a school bus while having to pee, that's not a fun time.
Every single time you hit a bump, and those school buses do not have enough shock absorption. I'm sorry.
No shock absorption.
No, I lived like 5 miles away from my school. I got in the habit of riding my bike to school instead of riding the bus, because it was a longer experience, but it was a more pleasant one.
Yeah. So here's the statement that I just found completely fucking baffling. So this policy is policy 2116. Policy 2116 also defends the privacy and safety of everyone else who abides by the biological sex on their birth certificate. But what about the privacy and safety of those who are trans? You can't say this is about you can't say this is about privacy when it's going to like, if you need to see my birth certificate before you let me into the washroom, that is not protecting my privacy. It doesn't matter what the birth certificate says.
We're just protecting your privacy. You need to understand.
Oh, my Stream Elements bots are still telling you to donate to Project Share. You can still donate to Project Share, but probably not there because the fundraiser is over.
But do it anyway.
Yeah, you can still do it. But who's carrying around their birth certificate anyway? Fennec asks. But yeah, no, they're like, the school probably has records or whatever, and if they like, no, but it's a violation of privacy. There is no reason that anyone at the school should need to know what the sex is on the birth certificate. So, oh yeah, and also the Francis Howell Family's website also includes information about like part of this policy would forbid the provision of litter boxes.
Oh God. They're still on about that shit.
Well,
that
I mean,
happen.
If the gay furry hackers get their way, that might be necessary soon. Come on, Cirrus. Come on.
I realized as I was scooting away that my headphone cord was wrapped around my chair, so I actually couldn't leave my chair. So my dramatic exit was screwed up by circumstance. So
the dramatic scooting was foiled by a cord.
It was foiled by the accords.
Yeah. So the voting on the thing was tabled in order to provide board members with more time to obtain any additional information they deem applicable in making decisions around this issue. I don't have a lot of hope that this issue is not going to pass, though, because, like I said earlier, 5 of the 7 school board members were funded by the conservative PAC that got the person who proposed this thing elected in the first place.
I wonder how you would even get that how would you would even fix this situation with there being a whole bunch of conservative funded people placed on that panel. I don't even know how you would manage to overcome that. It's just like dealing with the Supreme Court shit in the United States. It's an uphill battle.
New national bill passes. Everyone who is elected to a school board with funding from a PAC, any PAC, conservative or liberal, is immediately ejected from the school board and forbidden from running for re-election. That would be an expensive solution, because people would need to, like, there need to be like all sorts of emergency elections, as like school boards like this one need to like get 5 more members, but
it would work.
You shouldn't. Yeah, it would work. You shouldn't. Like, you shouldn't get that kind of funding for a school board election.
It's the usual follow the money.
Either that or everybody should get equal funding. Like, there should be public funding available for people running for school board, and it's just the same amount of money for everybody. Like, that would be ideal, I think. And like, legally, that's the only money you can use.
Yeah, having that money conglomerated into a PAC just...
No, but I'm saying something like the federal, like, or I don't know, state. Well, I guess to make it countrywide, it would have to be federal, which would
need
all
to be
the
federal.
states, all the states' rights people would be up in arms against it. But
the government is trying to impose their morality.
If there was like a federal budget item for like, these are school board election funds, and like everyone who runs, like, you can say like so many people can run for the school board in any given district or whatever, and they all get the same amount of money. And that's it. That's all they get. And it's from the federal government. It's not from an organization that is going to like be wanting to pull strings on them later.
Yeah.
I know that's an idealized scenario. It's not going to pan out anytime soon.
It's what you want. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's what you want.
Yeah. All right. So next up, got Trump says he won't be a dictator except for day one.
Why is there a ...
Because he says he follows that up with except for day one.
How do you be a dictator on day one and then not be a dictator on day 2, 3, 4, and 5?
Yeah, so he did an interview with Sean Hannity, and Hannity asked whether he'd seek revenge on his political enemies if elected again to the White House, and Trump responded that he would not be a dictator except for day one. This one's irrelevant to the point we're talking about now. He just basically goes on another thing like, oh, renewable energy is so expensive, even though it's actually getting cheaper than coal. And like, when you look at countries that have a significant portion of it, it's actually significantly cheaper than the fossil fuels. Because he doesn't know that. He just says, oh, wind is expensive, and solar, I love solar, but solar's expensive.
The only global warming we should be thinking about is
nuclear. If
nuclear warming. But have you been seeing the stuff there's been a lot of stuff in the news about fusion reactors that are going up, new ones that are really, really good.
Do you mean the fission reactors? Because we don't have fusion.
Oh, fission reactors, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, no, the fission reactor built with the latest, I don't know if they've actually successfully built I think it's Gen 4 reactor. But like, if they could, they're incredibly small, they're incredibly powerful, and they can burn the waste from the older generations of reactors. And as far as nuclear goes, the way Germany is doing it is completely the wrong way to go, because they're just decommissioning. Well, they have decommissioned all of their nuclear, but because of that, they had to, like, solar and wind are intermittent sources, so you need grid storage in order to like use them reliably. You need to, like, when the sun is shining, store all that extra energy in batteries so that when the sun goes down, people can use them. But grid storage is a big endeavor. We don't have enough of it. And so Germany found that out the hard way and is now like reopening old coal plants because they shut down all their nuclear plants. And it's like, no, nuclear is clean. Like, nuclear is 100%, like, once the reactor is built, it is 100% clean. All of the emissions from nuclear come from the building of the reactor itself, like the concrete that it requires. Like, once it's up and running, it's fucking clean. So just fucking use it. If you already have them, use it. And with the new reactors, you can even burn the waste from the old ones, which nuclear waste isn't actually as big of a problem as The Simpsons would have you believe. But it is, like, I'm not going to, like, it is a problem. It's just not as big of a problem as the media makes it out to be. But the newer generations of reactors can burn the fuel from the older generations of burn the waste from the older generations of reactors, and then the waste from these newer reactors has half-lives on the order of like dozens of years instead of thousands. So the nuclear waste from that is even safer than the other stuff. So like we don't need to have as long-term a solution for the waste. Oh yeah, also Red Joker 100 in the Twitch chat is pointed out that more radioactive material is released by burning coal than through fission. Absolutely. There is uranium in coal. So when you burn coal, it releases uranium into the atmosphere, and there's much more of a direct radiation harmful effect from burning coal than there is from nuclear. Nuclear is fucking amazing, but it's been demonized in like popular media and TV shows like The Simpsons for so long that everybody just immediately thinks like, oh no, nuclear radiation.
They
waste,
have the
three-eyed fish.
The association.
No. Yeah, so everybody just has that gut negative reaction with it, even though it's fucking amazing. Anyway, that's not what this article is about. And Adam Broughton sent a super chat a while ago saying, have you noticed any super far right people running for school boards in your area? I've seen quite a few in Eastern Ontario. So remember that thing that I said about how an ADHD and not really being able to follow through with stuff like that, even though it's super duper important? Yeah, I have no idea who's running for school board in my area. I do know though that the schools in my area are super progressive, and it's fucking amazing. Like they're really supportive of kids who are like, not even like just coming out as trans, but like experimenting with their identity and figuring out who they are, and like allowing for that experimentation in a non-judgmental way, which is super important for kids. Because like, you know, like
if you have to be able to control for having bad parents. You cannot assume that bad parents do not exist. So you have to educate kids and go, hey, it's okay to be like this, just in case there's a parent on the other side going, now I hope you don't date any of them blacks.
Yeah, so
that happens.
So the issue we're having right now is with my partner's kids. Their dad is very much traditional gender roles, and trans people are not real, and like they're like these progressive, the woke liberals are trying to trans the kids. He is very much of that bent. And so like, but her kids like to do stuff like wear dresses to school. And like,
he immediately would get, oh, I remember you were mentioning something about this, how they had like a pink lunchbox, and then he picked them up from school one day and shit hit the fan because of that.
Oh yeah. So he's been, anytime he picks them up from school, if they have like pink backpacks or lunchboxes or anything, he refuses to give them back to us. So he just keeps them, and then like he has bought them so many new backpacks just to prevent them from having the pink ones at our house.
Isn't that
like
just stealing?
It got to the point where we actually had to have our lawyer write a letter to his lawyer being like, hey, your client is stealing our shit. Give it back. And so, and of course he can't just, he couldn't just like put the stuff in a bag and send it to school with them. He actually, no, you know, I don't think I can talk about that. So
yeah, that's,
there are some aspects of this that I'm not supposed to talk about. So I'm just going to stop now.
Yeah, understandable, but that's insane.
He's a douche canoe. But like, I'm happy that his kids have the ability to experiment while they're at our house. Like, yeah, they have to wear the boys' clothes when they're at Dad's house, but like, letting them wear a dress ain't gonna hurt them. Like,
nope,
fuck,
not really.
I'm Scottish, man. We come from a proud culture of guys wearing skirts. And yes, the Scottish people don't like it when I call a kilt a skirt, but deal with it. It's a garment that is open on the bottom, that is not a dress. It's a skirt by definition.
And they go, it's very different. I'm like, no, it's not. It's a skirt.
It's a manly looking skirt.
It looks more manly because it's clothes built for a guy's frame. It's the reason why when somebody's like, you don't put men in dresses. Well, no, you don't put men, like cis men, in dresses made for women half the time. You can get dresses though that are cut for men, and they look better on men. Weird. I went
to drag brunch this Sunday with the whole family. It was a great experience, and yeah, the guys in the dresses looked fabulous. They rocked those dresses.
Sometimes it's just having a dress that is cut for your frame. Sometimes it's finding a dress that works better for your frame.
Well, I think they had like a corset kind of thing going on, because there was like kind of an hourglass shape that is not natural to the male frame.
They were melding their frame to the dresses.
It was funny. At one point, one of them said like, "Oh, I went to the theater. Yes, I'm one of those gays." I'm like, "Oh, really? The gay drag queen who is performing in front of us is into theater? I never would have guessed that."
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, Handy asked Trump for the second time if he plans to abuse his power, and Trump admits he plans to do some dictatorial things on day one of his second term.
We almost have to go to a break. I want to go back to this one issue, though, because the media has been focused on this and attacking you. Under no circumstances, you are promising America tonight you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
for?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
Except for
I want to close the border, and I want to drill.
That's
drill,
not. That's
drill.
That's not.
No, no.
That's not retribution.
Hannity is trying to save him.
I'm going to be. You know, he keeps. We love this guy. He says, "You're not going to be a dictator, are you?" I said, "No, no, no. Other than day one, we're closing the border, and we're drilling, drilling,
Wait,
drilling."
did he just hold on? Pause for a sec. Did he just go and do the whole "this thing happened one time" to an event that happened 15 fucking seconds ago?
Yeah, obviously that's what he does. But he's saying the quiet part out loud. He's saying, "I am going to be a dictator if you elect me on day one." Dictators don't give up their power on day two.
No, they don't.
Like he's saying, "I'm going to be a dictator because I'm going to close the border and drill, drill, drill." Drill, I assume, means like new oil contracts or some shit, or fracking or something.
You know what's funny? Biden's not against fracking either.
Yeah, but like, okay, he says, "I'm going to close the border on day one." Close the border. Do you think he's going to open it on day two?
No, he's not. He's going to keep it that way.
Because what's the point in closing it for one day? So obviously,
he
this
didn't
is him
successfully close the border for 4 years. What does he think's going to happen this time?
We didn't get to the end of the clip, but Handy mentions that. It's like, oh, so these are just basically your policies from last time.
To that, I'm not a dictator.
So that sounds to me like you're going back to the policies when you were president. All right, take a break. Just getting started.
Yeah, then he goes to commercial. So Handy's trying desperately to save him there, be like, oh, so that's not actually retribution. That's just your policies that you had before, right? That's just agree with me, man, so that you can not look like a complete total fucking buffoon, even though you are.
Yeah, it's almost like the person who spends 90% of the time in front of a camera knows how to wordsmith and get you out of a bad situation. Take the olive branch when they hand it to you, please.
Yeah, well, Trump doesn't know. He didn't even notice that Handy was trying to save him. He was just like, oh, this guy doesn't like that I'm being honest. Yeah, so he say it's not clear if Trump was joking. He's not joking. Like, he said that in a way that could come across as joking. That's not him joking.
It's joking in the same way that jacking off is just asking questions.
Yeah, no, he's like, that's his whole thing. He pretends as though he doesn't mean what he says, and then people are like, "Oh, you don't take him seriously when he says he's going to be a dictator," and then he does everything he can to be a dictator. Like, it's
fine
now
to stop it and be a dick.
It is now a matter of court record that he incited an insurrection. Like, that's just a matter of court record in Colorado.
And now Mike Johnson wants to blur the faces of all of the rioters.
Yeah, no, that's I don't have that video for today, but yes, Mike Johnson literally went in front of TV cameras and was like, "I'm going to commit an obstruction of justice." And then he found out that they already have the uncensored footage at the DOJ, and he tried to walk it back because he realized he admitted to a crime.
Yeah, his one of his aides basically had to come in and speak for him and go, he's not actually going to do that. That's not how that works.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a really short article, but they basically link to all the times when he praised all these other extreme dictators like Kim Jong-un and Xi and Putin, Erdogan, all these extreme dictators who are nasty to their people, and all the nice things he said about them, and how much he wants to be like them.
He says nice things about dictators who are still alive, because they're ones that he can gain political favor with. But when we're talking about dictators from the past,
he just quotes them directly and then pretends like he didn't know that he was doing that. That was an accident. I didn't mean to talk exactly like Hitler.
Jesus.
Anyway, that's that article. We're going to end on a bit of a funny note, but also kind of annoying, because it's Ted fucking Cruz. Ted Cruz, a Canadian export, introduces bill limiting pronouns and name despite going by his own chosen name. Sidebar, this is from The Advocate. So shout out to The Advocate for lining up their headline with the fucking article instead of the ads.
They did it.
Yay, The Advocate. This one comes to us from Fennec the Fox. Thank you, Fennec. You can submit news articles to me if you think I should cover them at news@vicerhino.com is the email address you can send them to. So, yeah, send me news. Send me the news.
God, it sounded like you said send me nudes for a second there.
You can send those too. I will appreciate them. They won't make it on stream, though. Unless we're in a hot tub, because Twitch.
He'll censor them.
I've had to censor myself so many times. All right, so Senator Ted Cruz, who is legally named Raphael Edward Cruz. Why is Ted a short for Edward?
I didn't know that I thought it was short for Theodore.
Yeah, it is as well. It's like, I actually looked up why is Ted short for Edward, and it's like Ted is like unique in that it's one of the very few short names that is short for two long names. And then it turns out that, like, I guess it's a little bit harder to say Ed than Ted because Ted starts with a consonant. So it's like, it's just laziness. It's linguistic laziness. Naramda puts the saying, wait, Ted is from Canada. He sure acts like an American Republican, though. Yeah, he's from Canada. He's from Alberta, which is our Republican sector.
Jesus.
Yeah, so Raphael has introduced a bill to the United States Senate titled the Safeguarding Honest Speech Act. Why do they, like, these things are always so fucking obviously, like, their titles are the exact opposite of what they try to accomplish.
I kind of wish that we had the same rules that the French did when it came to bills, where if anything is in the bill that it sounds even remotely like it's the opposite or not what the bill is about, the bills cannot go through. Sure. The bills have to be the bills contents have to be consistent with their names, which means they can't have like pork fat.
See, that's why I think it was Cognitive Dissonance, the podcast. They suggested that the Democrats should propose a voter ID bill, but like the voter ID is provided for free by the government. And as part of the bill, they would like make Election Day a holiday. And then like everybody who is eligible to vote automatically gets registered and gets the ID for free.
Oh, it's like like titling a thing.
So it's like
the Maximum Freedom Act.
Yeah, so it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, technically that would give people a voter ID, which is something that Republicans say they want, but it would do it in a way that they definitely would not want. So then you could like campaign on that, being like, hey, these guys said they wanted voter ID, but look, this person voted no on the Voter ID Act. I forget all the details from that one, but yeah. Alberta gave us Kermit the Frog shutters. No, Alberta is not where Jordan Peterson is from. He's from Ontario, unfortunately. Ontario has its fair share of... I assume Kermit the Frog is a Jordan Peterson reference.
I would assume so, too. I don't know enough Canada lore to know where people are from, though.
Yeah, Peterson's from Ontario.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
we hope.
Freedom Inc. says grammatically his name should be Ralph Cruz. I don't know if Ralph is short for Raphael. Is it?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm calling him Raphael from now on because he's like, just picture him trying to be a Ninja Turtle. That'd be hilarious.
Teenage Mutant Ninja dirtbag.
Yeah. So the bill would prohibit the use of funds to implement, administer, or enforce measures requiring certain employees to refer to an individual by the preferred pronouns of such individual or name other than the legal name of such individual and for other purposes. So basically, if you, like the same as the bathroom thing, if you go by a name or pronouns that are not made obvious by your birth certificate, then they can't like reprimand you for it if you constantly dead name someone or use the wrong pronouns.
So if you engage in harassment.
Yeah.
Because that's the word for that.
Yeah, but okay, so this part just made me like I think I got a concussion with how hard I smacked my head on the desk when I read this. Forcing anyone to use pronouns that don't accord with a person's biological sex is an unconstitutional violation of the First Amendment. It's like, okay, I can kind of see the logic there. It doesn't really make sense, but
I'm asking you not to be an asshole.
At least at least the argument could be made there. It's a stupid argument, but there is a certain amount of logic there. But then he follows it up by saying, as the Supreme Court held, if there is any fixed star in our constitutional constellation, it is that no official, high or petty, can prescribe what shall be orthodox in politics, nationalism, religion, or other matters of opinion. In other words, they can't prescribe that you must go by the pronouns that would be indicated by your birth certificate. Because that is prescribing orthodoxy in matters of, I guess, opinion would be.
No, it's different here. It's different here.
No, it's not.
It has to be. It's
that is them
here.
prescribing orthodoxy.
Because it's Republicans. It's different here.
No. And it says the government has no business compelling anyone to use pronouns that contradict biological reality. Pronouns don't reflect biological reality, you fucking turd.
They don't affect reality. They're not about reality. They're about identity. I identify as a gamer. Can you find that anywhere on my penis?
No. God damn it. Who fucking cares? Who fucking cares about your biology?
I am biologically a Chris. Don't you understand?
I don't know what my fucking I know what my pronouns are. I don't know what my fucking chromosomes are, man. I've never had my chromosomes tested. I might have one of those things where, like, I'm a fully functional penis with sperm stuff, but I've got the XX chromosomes.
It's the fucking Jet video.
I might have one of those.
It has to be the Jet video with Shadow the Hedgehog. So I don't have pronouns, Sonic. What are you talking about? Everybody has pronouns.
Have you watched the new Doctor Who episodes?
So I actually have never seen a single episode of Doctor Who.
Okay, so there's the new one where, like, there's an alien that shows up that is the Meep. It's the last of his species. Is this, like, really cute looking thing. It's all fluffy and cuddly with the big eyes and everything, and then the Doctor comes in and he's like, oh, he refers to him as he. And then the trans character that all the Republicans are freaking out about is like, did you just assume this alien's pronouns? And then the Doctor's like, you know what? That's a good point. What are your preferred pronouns? And the Meep, in, like, perfect parody of Republicanism, was like, I prefer to use the definite article as my pronoun. So I am the Meep. And then they respect their pronouns.
Hello, the Meep.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how they talk about it. Okay, spoiler for that special. If you haven't seen this, like, mute your thing now. I'm going to give you, like, another 5 seconds to spoil it. Or because I am about to spoil it.
Okay.
The Meep's the fucking bad guy. Evil villain. Like, the reason the Meep is, like, it's this whole thing where it's like this cute thing that everybody assumes is harmless because it's this cute fluffy fuzzy thing with the big eyes or whatever, and then the aliens that are hunting it are these big insectoid things. But it's it ends up being, like, a genocidal maniac.
Huh.
And so, like, the reason it is the Meep is because it's the last of its species, and it's, like, got a megalomaniacal complex going on where it's like, I'm the most important thing, so you will refer to me as the Meep.
Oh my god.
So that was, like, the first hint of that. So it's like kind of parodying the Republican thing where, like, only assholes would choose the definite article as their pronoun. So I thought that was
Donald Trump.
Like, it was done in a kind of ham-fisted way, so I didn't really like the way they did that, but I did get a little bit of amusement from it. Okay. So I'm done spoiling it now, although if you had me muted so that I didn't spoil it, you have no way of knowing that I'm saying that I'm done spoiling it now. So
we rely on chat.
Yeah.
We rely on chat.
It's been out long enough that hopefully you've seen it.
I need to give you my copy of River Song.
Sure. So this person said, can you imagine getting reprimanded or fired from your job for not using an individual's preferred pronouns? Read, harassing people. Unfortunately, that's exactly what the Biden regime has imposed in its latest guidance from the Department of Health and Human Services. The radical left is the radical left is actively coercing the speech of individuals, all in service of a delusional woke agenda. Like, can you fit any more buzzwords in there, buddy?
It's at a point where you start asking yourself, how much of the speech that you use, how much of the words that come out of your mouth is informative or inflammatory? Which one? Because none of that's informative. That's literally just there because them's the words the Republicans know not to like.
Yeah. Yeah, and then everybody's pointing out that, like, oh, you're passing a bill to make sure that people can, like, use your legal name without worrying about your preferred name. Okay, Ted, you're Raphael now, because that's your legal name.
Yep.
It's just how it is. Sorry, Raphael. Ordinary Man Fishing sent £2 to say Rhino ruined my life by spoiling Doctor Who. Hashtag sorry, not sorry.
You could have muted.
I did give a warning. I just didn't say how long I'd be talking about it because I had no idea.
This is the muting mutiny.
Anti-LGBTQ extremists attempting to erase trans people by purposely ignoring their pronouns, gender, and authentic name are nothing new. In fact, we even have names for those insidious acts, misgendering and dead-naming. This latest attempt by Senator Cruz, who does not go by his own legal name, to prohibit the federal government, the nation's largest employer, from respecting employees' authentic names and pronouns, is not only dangerous and demeaning, it's hypocritical. And they point out that, where is it? So, yeah, the Trevor Project's 2021 National Survey on LGBTQ youth mental health found that transgender and non-binary youth who had their pronouns respected attempted suicide at half the rate of those who did not. In other words, Ted Cruz is trying to kill people.
It's saving lives to respect people's pronouns. Weird. And you know what's funny? These people, the people that want to try to push the whole, like, the woke agenda is ruining the world. This is the people who talk mostly in buzzwords to a group of constituents and not real people at a dinner table. These are the types of people that will try to justify it being okay for trans people to die as a result of suicide in one of two ways. The cruelest way they can do it is saying that they were weak and therefore deserve it. If you spend enough time on Twitter, you will find that. Mm-hmm. The other way, the more insidious way, is trying to imply that being trans, like strictly being trans, causes suicidality. And
no, that's not what the research shows.
No, the research shows that social pressures are actually the thing that increase rates of suicidality.
Yeah, it's called minority stress. If you are in a minority that is oppressed, you face extra stress in your life, and that causes things like bad mental health outcomes and increased rates of suicidality. That's just a fact of life. That has been true of LGBTQ people. It's been true of people of color. It's been true of every oppressed minority throughout history. It's just only recently that we've had the research about it. Sakura, sorry, I can't highlight your thing because my Twitch thing seems to be broken because I didn't test it before the stream. Huzzah. Says, so my father worked for the post office. He always wore a name tag with his nickname, not his first name.
That's illegal. Fine. That's illegal.
It is now.
Anyway, it's not his biological first name. It's bad.
So I have this highlighted in red because I feel like this is important. The legislation is not expected to go anywhere under the Democratic control of the Senate. This is why voting for Democrats is fucking important right now. Like, I get it. I know lesser of two evils fucking sucks as an argument. But, just, you know, you're in a two-party system in the States. That's just how it fucking is. If you vote third party, that's basically the same as just not voting. So you vote for the Democrats. I know they fucking suck. I know they're not as progressive as we would like. I've got a beard loose. She brought two.
It is the difference between getting punched in the stomach and having your jaw broken.
No.
You don't like either of them.
It's the difference between getting a congratulatory but perfunctory pat on the back and having your jaw broken. Like, yeah, the perfunctory pat on the back is like, okay, this feels like it's performative more than anything. Like, think about from an employee. Like, there was a restaurant I worked at where I worked the Thanksgiving weekend, and everybody called in sick except for me. So I worked 14-hour shifts for the entire holiday weekend by myself, busting my ass, working harder than I've ever worked before, and giving shit service because I was the only server on, so I couldn't help with everybody. So I didn't make great money because the tips weren't great, because I wasn't giving good service, because I was the only fucking server on. And at the end of it all, the owner of the restaurant gave me a card.
Don't you feel good about it?
Yeah. So it's like, it's the difference between getting that card and then getting fired for giving shit service. How dare you give shit service? Don't you know that we have the highest of standards here? So, yeah.
Jeez, it's, yeah. You would have rathered that than getting punched in the jaw.
Yeah, so Sakura says Democrats suck, Republicans are Nazis. Better to have sucky than Nazis. Then we can get the sucky out and replace them with people on the left. Yeah, so that's the thing. Especially, like, I know I emphasized the importance of local elections earlier. Now, speaking about federal elections, specifically the presidential election, people say that they'll vote third party to send a message.
What is the message?
The message that they got in 2016 was that going extreme gets you elected. But like, the thing is, you send the message in the primaries. So in the primaries, you vote for the most progressive candidate that you can. And then they see how many votes are going to the progressive ones. And then when it gets to the actual presidential election, you fucking bite the bullet and vote for the old man who's about to die. And you're like, just suck it up and vote for Joe, because it's going to be Joe. We know it's going to be Joe. But like, in the primaries, vote for the most progressive guys you can, because Joe Biden ended up being way more progressive than anybody thought he was going to be. And that's because he saw how fucking well Bernie did in the primaries. So he's like, ooh, I need to like get a bit more progressive to appeal to these Bernie bros so that they can vote for me next time. Yep, that's how you send a message with your vote. You vote progressive in the primaries, then you bite the bullet and vote for the Democrat in the actual general election.
And he may not be as progressive as you want him to be, but if you're very worried about sending a message, and I hate the fact that I have friends that tried to make this argument too. If your goal is sending a message, what you're actually saying is the message you're trying to send is more important than the lives that are affected by bringing the GOP in.
Yeah. Because like, if you send a message with your vote that I'm not going to vote for you until you get really, really progressive, what you're saying is that the LGBTQ people that I know and love are less important to me than sending that message, because allowing Trump to get in will cause them pain, will cause them suffering, will cause some of them to die. Like, literally, there is a death toll to Trump's presidency. Like, and like, I'm not just talking about like the drone strikes that he ordered. I'm talking about like LGBTQ people that would still be alive if it were not for Trump.
People within the United States that you can meet and talk to and are your friends or family. And if you don't know they're your friends and family, they might be closeted actually. And you still need to advocate for them.
Oni Reynard, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, says you might want to clarify better with old man that's about to die, as I'd argue that Trump is in worse health than Biden and is only 3 years younger.
What are you talking about? His diet of daily McDonald's definitely does not have serious consequences.
Yeah, no, and the fact that he keeps on saying that he's running against Obama is just like, he's mentally not all there.
Obama.
Yeah. Yeah, so like, and Sakura is saying that Trump does seem to have a worse cognitive decline. Yeah, I'd agree with that, which is, it's really amazing that like even the left-wing media will like talk about how old and frail Biden is, but they don't talk about the same with Trump, when it's like, no, he's an old man who like he barely passed a test that is a strictly pass-fail test that if you fail it, it means you have dementia. And then he was proud about the fact that he was able to remember woman, man, camera, TV, person.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, that was a rant and a half.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we're going to run late tonight because when we get to the tweets, we're going to start with a video. So I mentioned Ben Shapiro earlier, or like I mentioned we'd get to Ben Shapiro earlier. Are you familiar with the Daily Wire's latest foray into cinema?
Yes.
Lady Ballers. So I have the trailer. We're going to watch the trailer before we watch Ben Shapiro. Now, apologies for the...
Oh, I know what this is about. Okay,
yes.
yep.
Okay. So apologies for the audio. I don't want to get copyright claimed as we're live because YouTube and Twitch will just shut down the stream immediately if that happens. Like there's no appeals process for that. They just turn it off. So I stripped the music out of it. And there's actually a couple of funny moments where it's like, because I use NVIDIA Broadcast. It has like this AI like removing background noise tool that's supposed to be for like live stream so I can like listen to music really loudly in the room, but you guys won't hear it. And so I like use that to strip music from my stuff. But the side effect is it's trying to enhance what it determines is a human voice. So there's like a couple moments where like subtle sound effects from the background get like enhanced as the human voice. So it's like it's like dead silence and then someone goes like, "Ah!" So it's actually kind of funny.
It's gonna be like a very poorly audio mixed 80s movie.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, but like you'll get the idea of what we're going for with this trailer. So let's watch the trailer first. It's like 2 minutes long. I might pause it a couple times just, again to try and avoid copyright stuff.
In a world where women's sports is being transformed.
Get it? Transformed.
It's being transformed.
Transformed.
The Daily Wire calls foul with the
They call foul about everything.
most triggering comedy of the year.
Okay.
God, you know, it wasn't supposed to be a comedy. It was
We'll
supposed to be
a... Stop spoiling it. Stop spoiling it. We'll get there. We'll get there. Stop. Shush. Don't. No, this isn't. We're not reacting to the trailer. I'm just pausing it occasionally for copyright reasons.
Yeah. Okay.
But like they say it's the most triggering comedy of the year. I've seen several reviews of it. Everybody's like, this isn't triggering. This is just dumb. It's not even funny. Like you can make trans jokes and be funny. And like, yeah, they might be offensive, but you can be offensive and be funny. This ain't it. This is just not funny. Right there. Like it enhanced that. That was not that audible in the original thing.
I like how the gym they're in is like
Guys, this is serious.
microscopic.
Sports can be your pathway to a better life.
Well, like yours?
Please don't steal my catalytic converter again. Winning.
Yeah, so in case you missed that, a running gag in this movie is that the one black character, who is not one of the black athletes that shows up later, is someone who keeps stealing stuff from this guy. So the one black character is a thief. Because like they couldn't make a comedy without adding the racism.
Matters. It's the key ingredient in becoming a winner.
I mean, we should talk sometime. Are you gonna move?
I am not.
Let's cut to the chase. I know you're not a woman.
Hey, you don't know how he identifies.
If you can beat them.
What do you know about the U.S. Opens for the global games?
God, you want us to compete as women? $5,000 prizes. My lover says you were a great coach back in the day.
That was Matt Walsh in a wig, in case you missed it. Because they got to get all the cameos in.
This is the way the world is now. My 8-year-old daughter told me all about it. So a guy can become a girl with no physical changes at all.
It's called chicken swimming.
So I can be a woman on the court and a man in the bedroom. I can't believe it. Nice.
You mean when you're sleeping?
Yes, coach.
That's probably the funniest moment in the whole movie.
Yeah, I didn't get a chuckle out of it, but I can see.
I didn't
humor
say
in
it was funny. I said it was the funniest movie of the.
Everything's
funniest moment of the movie.
Everything's relative. I'm close enough to Alabama to make that joke.
We could play basketball.
We have to get the whole team back together. It's time.
We're in. I'm in. I'm in.
To play.
Lady Ballers. Man up.
like a girl.
That's why I'm with her. This is my
Hero.
day one of being a girl athlete.
So that was a Dylan Mulvaney reference, in case you missed it.
She did the
I love
TikTok
being a girl.
blog on it.
We could dominate every woman's sport.
Yet, do you really think these tiny, pasty, white, itty-bitty men who are terrible at everything could dominate every woman's sport?
They're gonna get. Can you imagine Ronda Rousey just giving one of them?
Oh,
punch?
she'd kick their fucking ass. Absolutely.
Running, swimming, soccer. I said sport, Felix.
Oh, get it? Because soccer's not a sport. That's funny. That was a joke.
It's ladies basketball, boys. Nobody watches.
Oh, that's a joke that's never been made before. That's fresh. That's funny. Nobody watches ladies basketball. Ha 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 ha.
It would have been funnier if the when they were calling out all the names, if it was just a Rocky Horror Picture Show reference.
Excuse me.
Oh, look, it's Raphael.
Hi, buddy.
It's our good buddy Raph.
These seats open. Never mind.
So I don't even get that joke. Like, are we supposed to know who that woman was that it cut to?
Is it? Hold on. Play that clip again.
Oh, you asked me to go back. Her. Do you know who that is?
No, my brain tried to go, it's Blair White, but it's not.
Excuse me. Are these seats open? Never mind.
Like, what is the joke there? Is that even a joke? Like, are we? Would that be funny if we knew who that woman was?
I think so. I think the joke is supposed to be, it's a liberal woman pissed off about what's going on, and Ted Cruz is there, and he's conservative. That's as close as I got for humor for you. I'm sorry.
If we can't even figure out the joke, is it funny?
The joke's funnier when you explain the joke.
Okay, that has the potential to be moderately funny depending on what context it's in the overall movie. In the context of the trailer, it's not funny.
Tucking drums.
All right, so I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen a couple people review the movie so far. This team of black athletes is a team of actual athletes who have now decided to do the same thing. So they've all said that they're women and have joined sports now, and are like the mediocre men that could beat all the women are now being beat by the actual sports people who are black, because blacks can do the sports. They also steal things. But we're not the racist ones.
But I had a black friend who said the joke was funny.
Oh, but here we go. He pantsed him, and everybody's like,
biggest I've ever seen on a lady.
That's the biggest dick I've ever seen on a lady. Black men have big dicks, and these black men are pretending to be women. That's funny. Ha ha. See, this is the thing where it's like, I'm not even offended at the transphobia bullshit here. I'm offended at the bad comedy. At least be fucking funny.
I don't care.
Lady Ball.
Hey, Ben Shapiro's in it.
One can even be trans age now.
Trans age, because that's totally a thing.
Yeah.
Provide Sheelix with a wonderful opportunity to relive all the experiences that she missed out on in school.
So now she's trans age, so she's playing t-ball against a bunch of kids. So I think the reason the right has such a hard time with being funny is that in order to actually be funny with observational humor, you have to be observing things that are actually true in reality.
Whereas this is just a giant straw man of what happens in actual sports.
Anybody who actually knows anything about this is just like, no, that's just dumb. I get that you're trying to be offensive, but this doesn't even rise to the level of offensive. You would have to actually be funny first in order for it to be offensive.
Streaming exclusively on Daily Wire Plus December 1st.
I think that's basically it.
This is like the thing that Owen Benjamin tried to post on Twitter the other day. His favorite joke of all time is, why would you want to abort all the black babies? I could just buy them.
Who is Owen Benjamin? I feel I know the name, but...
So he used to be a stand-up comedian and actor, but I don't know what he's acted in. And then he did the conservative tour, basically, of going on Joe Rogan, going on Alex Jones, going on Steven Crowder.
So
and
the
now he's
same thing that that swimmer lady, what, Riley Gaines, I think her name is.
Yes,
Like she tied in 5th place with a trans woman, and has now made millions of dollars based on the fact that the funniest part about that is, like, if the trans woman wasn't even in the race, it would have had the exact same outcome for her because she tied for 5th place. So if the trans woman wasn't there, she still would have just gotten 5th place.
But she's got to fight for that 5th place.
And she's made millions of dollars off of that. And people are just like, whoa, it's so unfair that you lost to a trans woman. It's like, no, she didn't lose. She tied.
No, you lost to 4 other cis women.
Yeah. Anyway.
Maybe get good at sports.
So the trailer was the setup so you guys would all have context for this.
You approached me and you said we should make a fictional film about this topic. Now, to be fair, I think I'd actually suggested to the Crane Boys that they do this as a doc.
Yes.
I originally went to them and I said, you guys should go try out for a bunch of ladies' leagues. And that became not possible because, as it turns out, most ladies' leagues don't allow in actual men.
Oh, so as it turns out, the thing we've been scaremongering about for fucking years doesn't ever fucking happen.
What a weird world we live in, where the thing that we're telling you we're worried about, that we ask for your donation dollars so that we can be the bulwarks against.
We tried to do it for real, to make the point that this is something that's going to happen, and we failed to do it. So we had to make a fake movie and call it a comedy, even though it's not funny.
Yep.
In case you're if you're not familiar, the guy that Ben is talking to is one of the co-founders of the Daily Wire, and he was also the guy that played the coach in Lady Ballers. Oh, what?
You approached me and you said we should make this as a doc.
Yes.
I originally went to them and I said, you guys should go try out for a bunch of ladies' leagues. And that became not possible because, as it turns out, most ladies' leagues don't allow in actual men.
I know I just paused it here, but that's such a stunning admission where it's the whole fucking thing we've been scaremongering about is a nothing burger, and
we've been full of shit the whole time.
We couldn't even fucking do it. And he even says actual men can't do it. That says that in his mind there is a divide between actual men and trans women. It's not that trans women are actually men pretending to be women. It's that there is a difference there. There's a fundamental difference there.
So have you seen the behind the scenes Ben Shapiro stuff where he's finished recording and his demeanor changes almost like night and day, and he starts talking about maybe this thing needs to be taken out because it might be offensive to this person here. Mark Dice, who's the conservative piece of shit, mad that other conservatives aren't as shitty as he is, did a bunch of videos about Ben Shapiro because this behind the scenes stuff came out, and he's like, oh, this is proof that Shapiro doesn't really believe the things he says. And it's doesn't matter if he believes them or not, he's saying them, but it is interesting.
Okay, but does he believe that a wet vagina is a sign of disease? Because his wife told him that making me wet would mean I would be diseased. That's why I'm dry all the time.
Wet has P word.
I'm not making that up. You can go look it up. Ben Shapiro thinks that a wet vagina is a sign of disease, which in certain circumstances it can be, but not in the context that was referenced by the song that he was talking about then.
There's at least 34 circumstances in which it's not that. And if you want evidence of that, please go look up Ben Shapiro Rule 34.
And talking about dry vaginas and sandpaper and stuff, don't go back to last week's stream and look at our discussion about cat tongues.
I keep seeing comments pop up in my YouTube studio where people are like, no, we want the cat tongues. We want that.
Really? Because I keep getting the ones that are agreeing with you and no, you really don't want the cat tongues.
I feel like on our individual channels, I get the people who are rhino good, and you get the people who are Surus good. I think we've just slowly developed audiences that have antagonistic relationships with us.
My audience hates me and loves you. Your audience hates you and loves me. And it's great.
Perfect.
It works that way.
Men, and they weren't willing to go the full distance in terms of what it would require in order to, the actual hormone treatments and everything to play.
Yeah, the hormone treatments, like
the things that you would need to do.
You know how like you go to do sports stuff, and if they find that you're on steroid, like performance enhancing drugs, you end up like being disqualified. Being on hormone therapy, especially like transitioning from man to woman, you are literally on performance inhibiting drugs. They make your performance worse. Trans women do worse than they would have done in the sport than they would before they started taking the hormones.
So fun fact. So we did a rescue operation on my house a while ago for a person who.
Okay, you always do rescue operations. You got to be more specific than that.
Okay, so the fucking. The one with Arachne, specifically. Right. And
Cirrus has a fucking heart of gold, guys. You should, sign up for his Patreon. He's an amazing person. Okay, continue on with your story.
I don't need that, Rhino.
Yes, you do. Come on, man. Come on, man. You got mold in your house that needs to be fixed. Go subscribe to CERN's Patreon.
What I was trying to say...
You raised thousands of dollars for me when my wife died. The least I can do is tell people to subscribe to your Patreon.
Jesus fucking. Anyway, the reason I was trying to say this, not for that, but so when Arachne was over here, I did a bunch of research to figure out hey, how do you make sure that you get your hormones and all this fun stuff without having to have a primary care physician? And luckily, I happened to be in some group chats that had all that information on hand that I was able to use. And so Arachne was able to start hormone therapy here before she went to New Zealand to be with her partner. And while she was here, she was like, hey, I want to help out around the house. Because I'm staying here for months at a time, free of charge. What can I do? And I was like, hey, you could help by taking care of the dishes, taking care of the trash. Within 2 months, of being on T blockers and being on estrogen, just the ability to lift the trash, started to diminish greatly. Turns out, if you're not exercising routinely when you are on hormone therapy, all of your strength just gets deleted. Weird. And now I have evidence of this happening because it happened in my home. So I'm not just I can literally go, no, I'm not just referring to a study over here and saying, aha, the science says this. I've watched it happen in real time.
All right, so that's enough Shapiro for now. It's 10 o'clock. We're normally supposed to be done by now, and we haven't even started the tweets yet.
And before the tweets get saved for next week, and it's just all tweets.
Okay, so let us do some tweets.
Why do we have to begin with Truth Social?
Starting with Truth Social.
Tweets at home.
Donald J. Trump says MSNBC, MSDNC uses free government-approved airwaves, and yet it is nothing but a 24-hour hit job on Donald J. Trump and the Republican Party for purposes of election interference. Brian Roberts, its chairman and CEO, is a slimeball who has been able to get away with these constant attacks for years. It is the world's biggest political contribution to the radical left Democrats who, by the way, are destroying our country. Our so-called government should come down hard on them and make them pay for their illegal political activity. Much more to come. Watch. So, this is Donald Trump saying he's a fascist who would use his political power to control the media.
What's funny is that one of Umberto Eco's steps of fascism, one of their traits for fascism was state-controlled media. It's just there for anybody who wants to read it.
He's literally sitting here saying, I am a fascist who wants to control the media. I wish the government controlled the media to make sure that the government could only, the media could only put out messages that the government approves. It's literally what he's saying here. So talk to me in 2016. Okay, I was in a weird spot in 2016 where I was still kind of conservative leaning. So if you talked to me in 2016, I would have been like, nah, you're being hyperbolic. The guy's not really fascist. Like that's overblown fear mongering stuff or whatever. It's like, no, after 4 years of his administration, plus what he's done since then, it's like, no, he actually wants to be a fascist. It's just that like a few key people were able to like say, no, I can't do that. And if it wasn't for those few key people, he would have he would have gotten away with his coup. He could have like potentially actually overthrown the government. And like, I'm not saying these few key people were actually being brave, because most of them are complete shitbags who were perfectly happy to go along with the ride as long as it was enriching them. But as soon as it looked like it wasn't going to be in their best interest, they were like, no, I should probably like pretend like I have principles now so that I can, you know, still have a career after this.
Yeah, play along for as long as you can.
There's no guarantee that those people are still going to be there if he gets elected again. So like, I am honestly a little bit scared that if Trump gets elected again, the States is not going to be a democracy anymore. Like I would have thought that was hyperbolic fear mongering in 2016, but like now it's like, no, it kind of tracks. He like already incited an insurrection. It's like, what if he actually gets competent people to do his bidding this time?
This is one of the reasons why years ago I did a video called "Is Trump a Fascist?" and I took Umberto.
I remember that video.
I took Umberto Eco's description of fascism and another author's description of fascism. Umberto's is much more academic. The other one was more bloggy, but it's the one that gets shared around all the time. People are like, this is what fascism is. It's these 10 things. Lawrence something, I can't remember his name. I believe it started with a K. And I was like, hey, let's go ahead and juxtapose Trump to both of these, because maybe he'll be fascist to the blog post, but he's not fascist to the more stringent academic level. No, he just happens to have like 8 of 10 on both. Okay, cool. That's probably a fascist.
Van Briggs 333 says Lawrence W. Britt.
Okay, Lawrence W. Britt. I could not remember because I've done that video, I think it was 3 years ago now.
Yeah, it was a while ago. I remember it.
So we
yeah. No, and like I said, like I was right on board with people being like, you're overblowing it. I actually made a fucking video that I unlisted because I'm so ashamed of it. That was like, this is back when I was watching a lot of like anti-feminist YouTube stuff. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like, I wasn't like fully on board with it, but I was like leaning towards it. And so like, I actually made a video that like my whole purpose in making it was to try and like capitalize on the trend. Like, is everybody's talking about Donald Trump? How do I tie it into my channel where I talk about creationists? And I made a video called Open Letter to Feminists, which was talking about how like, it's not the end of the world. Don't worry about it. He's just going to be a bad president for 4 years and then we'll elect someone else. It's like, yeah, no, I don't like Donald Trump either, but like grow up. And like looking back on that now, I'm just like, oh, I was such a fucking idiot. And so like, if you happen to be one of the few people that like actually has the link to that video, you can go watch that and see how much I've changed since then. Cause like that, like, I'm so ashamed of that fucking video.
I wouldn't be
like, I haven't taken it down completely because I do want there to be a record of like, hey, minds do change. Look at what a shitbag I was back then. But like, I don't want it to be public and like with people.
You don't want to representing you now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that. I wouldn't beat yourself up over it because all of us have had our own.
Yeah, no, I had, this was part of my journey out of religion. Was like when I was in religion, I was kind of like, I was like, I went through this whole process where like in high school, I was like, I would actually have called myself a communist in high school. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh no, wait a minute. And I kind of fell in with the right wing evangelical crowd.
You pendulum swung.
Yeah. And then once I was out of that, I was like, oh no, I actually do care about people. And it turns out that like, if you care about people, libertarianism and that sort of bullshit mindset doesn't work. And And so like I have legitimately been on both sides of the argument, and I can say that like the data is on the liberal side. It just works better for everybody. Anyway.
Donald J. Trump, everybody.
Yeah, that's Trump. This one's hilarious. Victor says, "Do you really believe a woman can play man chess professionally?"
What is man chess?
I don't fucking know what man chess is.
Wait,
what the fuck is man chess?
Man chess is when you take a little bit of glue, like glue stick glue, stuff you can just like adhere repeatedly. You put it at the tip of your dick, and you use that to lift and control the chess pieces. And the first person to either pee on the board or make all of the or make the pieces fall on the board because they don't know how to control their dick loses. That's man chess.
So this was on Threads. The way I found this one was actually, I forget who it was, but someone like retweeted this or rethreaded this, I guess. Saying like
you're stitching.
Yeah, sure. They said man chess is when the pieces are made of 100% pure tungsten, or like 50 pounds each, and you've got electrodes wired into your balls, and you get electric shock if you take more than 20 seconds to move. So, yeah.
Oh God!
I don't know. It's just, and like like this was part of a this was. Fennec is asking, have I seen the movie Queen of Catway? No, I have not. But this was part of a larger thread that started with like apparently the transphobes are now saying that men have an advantage over women in the sport of darts.
I saw that.
How would that even work? Like
you see the throwing arm and the ability to calculate in math. It's a very man thing.
Okay, no, darts is a dexterity sport. And if anything, women have the advantage in dexterity sports. Like,
no, we have to say that the women are very they don't have an advantage in anything. Men am good at sports. Men am good at grill. Men am good at hunt gorilla. Women am good at sandwich.
Tasha says chess skill is stored in the balls.
Jesus.
And apparently the Queen of Catway is really, really good and related to women playing chess. So
testicles are stored in the balls.
Here's the thing. I would have to convince my partner to watch that with me as well. And I feel like chess movie is not going to do it for her. Because the thing is, I don't really watch TV or movies by myself. For me, that's like a bonding experience. Like if I'm not cuddling someone, I don't watch it.
So the only way I can get you to watch Yu-Gi-Oh with me is if I cuddle you. Got it.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
And
we can probably live stream that and make some money off that. It's like the Rhino and Cirrus cuddle stream.
Just can't have it showing like the actual show because then we'll get copyright hit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've found that like the Doctor Who thing, I actually had to make an effort to watch the newest, like I haven't seen a single thing of Doctor Who since my wife died because that was something that we watched together, and I just don't watch TV when I'm by myself. And so like I actually had to make an effort. There was one night when my partner had she had homework to do or something. I was like, okay, well, how long is it going to take you to do your homework? Because like I don't actually have any of my work to do tonight. It's like, do I have time to watch the new Doctor Who episodes? And like I haven't seen the last season before that, so like I might have missed some stuff. But like it's the same thing. Like I watched Ahsoka when she was gone for like she went to visit her mother for a few days, and that was when I watched Ahsoka. But like I had to like make a conscious effort, like, oh yeah, there was a Star Wars show that I wanted to see that I think like looked like it had promise, so like I'm going to make an effort to watch. Like I have to put conscious effort into it rather than just being like, oh, let's just watch the show.
I have to be a horrible person and run to the restroom for 10 seconds.
How dare you?
How dare I? It's awful. I'll never do it again.
Yeah. Chess is where the king has the uber movement and the queen can't do shit and takes up the same space as the rook. No, chess says the queen rocks. Queen fucking kicks ass. Fennec says, Cirrus and Vice Rhino cuddle party. Like, yeah, if Cirrus comes up here, or if I go down there, sure, we can live stream a cuddle party. I'm sure Cirrus would be on board for that. Tasha says, I liked that season, but at best I'd call the most recent season of Doctor Who mid. Yeah, I mean, mid is better than that Capaldi season that had the moon egg thing. Like the moon egg was like the most egregious episode, but like that whole season was kind of meh. But like Capaldi was great. I loved Capaldi as the Doctor, but like the material he was working with was not good. Like Stephen Moffat, not a great showrunner. Haven't yet gotten past the first Doctor. Now, when you say the first Doctor, are you talking about William Hartnell? Like 1960s Doctor? Because yeah, no, those episodes are hard to watch. Sirius is back.
I live again.
So as I would tell my kids in this situation, that was way too quick. Did you wash your hands?
Yes.
Are you sure? Did you scrub for 20 seconds? Did you scrub while singing the ABCs?
God damn it.
I'm sorry. I have 5 children, and 2 of them are under the age of 6. So,
understandable.
Like there's snot on every surface of my house right now.
So unironically, I have to wash my hands way more often than I normally would be comfortable with because I'm allergic to all of my fucking animals.
Axolotl with cream. Axolotl with cream says, "Sirus, go clean your piss hands."
The hammer's real, motherfuckers.
Okay, next tweet comes to us from white supremacist Charlie Kirk.
Who is this? I can't see his face.
This is Charlie Kirk. He's a white supremacist.
But I can't see his face.
I actually, so
it's so small.
Fun fact, before I saw this, I would have not said conclusively that Charlie Kirk is a white supremacist, but this tweet kind of clenched it for me. He says, "You're not being kind, you're not being tolerant, you're not being enlightened, you're not being compassionate. You're being invaded, you're being used, you're being taken advantage of, you're being replaced." So like, this is just him straight up advocating for the great replacement conspiracy bullshit.
Yep. God. So how much Charlie Kirk have you watched?
I'm going to say none. I don't actually watch these people. I just look at their tweets.
Okay, fair enough. I've seen at least a few hours of Charlie Kirk content.
I'm so sorry.
I've picked the wrong career is what I'm saying. But...
ooh. People are talking about the GTA trailer. Apparently, because like I've seen people on Twitter freaking out because like apparently the main character lady looks like she might be trans.
Even Tim Pool called shit on that.
Did he?
Yes. Like it when even Tim Pool is going, I think the right's gone too far. You've probably pushed things a little too stupid. You're too stupid for the man who gets his brain suffocated by a beanie.
Yeah. Oh, Jassa says my sister thinks Kirk is smart. I hope you're talking about Captain Kirk and not Charlie Kirk, because Captain Kirk is, I wouldn't, maybe not smart, but like...
I wouldn't, he resorts to violence really fast.
He does. Resourceful would be something that I would say that he is.
Resourceful because he gets himself into stupid situations. So like I haven't seen original
1970. You haven't seen the original series?
So I haven't seen the original series, but I have a lot of friends who are Trekkies who will send me clips, especially of him fighting a guy in a suit looking like a reptile monster.
Gorn. It's a Gorn, Cyrus. Come on.
So my impression of Kirk is hot-blooded idiot who knows how to weasel himself out of bad situations.
Yeah. So my partner actually doesn't really like Star Trek, but she did enjoy Strange New Worlds. But when like they were making such a big deal about the Gorn in Strange New Worlds and about how scary they are and how like they're like these killing machines or whatever. And so like after we watched the episodes where they're all scary and shit, I had to show her the original, like the first ever appearance of a Gorn on screen. And it's just like, that's the thing that they're saying is really, really scary. And it's just completely ridiculous and it's fun. But yeah, no, she likes new Trek. And this is this is where, like, I know there's a lot of criticism of New Trek, and some of it is warranted. Like, it's not perfect, but like, she doesn't like classic Trek, but she loves Strange New World. I love classic Trek, and I love Strange New Worlds. So like, I feel like New Trek is a way to bring people kind of into the fold.
And then they go, I want to see where it began.
Yeah, and not even that, but it's like it's a way that we can bond over a similar thing where, like, even if it's not like yeah, sure, New Trek is very different from 90s Trek, and I would argue that that's a good thing because Rick Berman was a fucking idiot. Like 90s Trek succeeded in spite of Rick Berman, not because of Rick Berman, even though Rick Berman like ran everything. Like, I don't know how familiar you are with the lore, but like Rick Berman was the guy who said, like, no, we can't have any gay representation. Like, we can't even hint at gay relationships in Star Trek because the networks won't have it, despite the fact that there were like regular gay characters showing up on TV shows as early as the 70s. And like, Jonathan Frakes, guy who played Will Riker, there was an episode where he fell in love with a non-binary character who was like from an alien species who has 3 sexes, one of which is like a neuter sex. He fell in love with one of these characters from the neuter sex, and Jonathan Frakes advocated for that character to be played by a man so that it could be like, yes, it's still a neuter sex, but when we kiss on screen, it's 2 men kissing. Because like, yeah, I know, like, and it's this whole thing where it's like, that's not really gay representation, but it's like a step in that direction.
It's them tiptoeing it as best they can.
Yeah. And Rick Berman kiboshed that and said, no, it's going to be played by a woman.
Okay.
Is that Growlithe? Hi, Growlithe.
No, Growlithe is
the one making the noise.
Growlithe is outside right now barking at a coyote, and this is Chip. Chip prefers being inside. Growlithe prefers being outside. So sometimes I can get them both in the same place, and oftentimes it's like this.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm misremembering. Fennec is saying that species only had one sex/gender. Having a gender was seen as abnormal. So yeah, I misremembered that was it. I haven't seen that episode in a long time. Is this the last tweet? If not, this is not the last tweet. Benny Johnson or John Soar?
Benny Johnson?
I thought it was Johnson, but I'm seeing that as an R now, so maybe it's Benny Johnson. Says, breaking, Jim Jordan and Rep Loudermilk of Judiciary GOP launching inquiry into Fanny Willis colluding with January 6th committee and release a letter showing coordination between her office and the committee. I read the letter. Can you guess what it is?
My brain's getting short-circuited by Growlithe right now, so I couldn't even fathom.
Unfortunately. So basically, Fanny Willis is investigating Trump for potential criminal activities. The January 6th committee was investigating Trump for potential criminal activities. So Fanny Willis wrote a letter to the January 6th committee saying, hey, I noticed that you have turned up some evidence that might be relevant to my investigation. Let's share some information.
I need to let her in. She's...
Okay. Off you go. Cirrus is just not committed to these streams anymore. He just keeps on disappearing. Like ever since he stopped using his Catgirl avatar, he just like walks off the stream regularly to like shit and let his dogs in. Hi, Dino Botful. You chose an unfortunate time to join the stream. Although the beginning of the stream was an unfortunate time too, because I did open with I have swamp ass. So there really is no good time to join a stream between me and Cirrus. Welcome back, Cirrus.
I don't know what she was barking at, but she ran in and immediately ran to the den and plopped up on the couch and laid down.
She just wanted inside.
I guess.
Yeah, so this is basically someone that was investigating crimes committed by Donald Trump, messaged another person investigating crimes committed by Donald Trump and was like, hey, I see that you've turned up some stuff that might be relevant to my investigation. Maybe we should share some information.
And
So,
they're
like,
trying to say that this
and they're
is
saying,
colluding.
like, that's collusion. Collusion is bad because they accuse Trump of colluding with people, like
This is
colluding
like-
with Russia.
This is like saying that
different.
the FBI found a thing and that information's relevant to like your local law enforcement.
like-
It's collusion.
Yeah, like if the FBI coordinates something with the DOJ, that's not a bad thing. That's just cooperating with an investigation.
Yeah, that's just how we do that shit. That's
Yeah.
how we figure out.
But they know that Trump was accused of collusion with Russia, and so they think collusion is just automatically a bad thing. You're like, no, collusion between different departments of justice, like different departments responsible for the administration of justice, that's just how it works. Like, if you committed crimes that could get you indicted in multiple places, those multiple places are all going to be like, hey, can we have the evidence of those crimes?
Yep. Oy, oy,
So, like, these people just don't know how it works.
Well, they live in their own separate reality.
Then Megan Basham says, renting the wombs of women to supply babies to intrinsically unfruitful gay unions should forever shut the mouths of those who insist that legitimizing gay marriage has no impact on anyone else. It is, to its core, disruptive of the essential building block of civilization. Now, even many conservatives do not understand this. Understand, Christian, that is what time it is.
She stole that from Michael Knowles.
Sure.
Michael Knowles did a video on that literally a day before she posted this.
Okay.
And those are the exact words that Michael used in his video.
Wow.
That's cool.
Okay.
I'm glad to see that shit twice.
But that's the thing, though, is that, like, okay, the renting of wombs to women to supply babies, like, paying people to be a surrogate.
It's very reductive of what surrogacy is.
Yeah,
or in vitro
surrogacy is a complicated issue. There are some problems with it. It's not a perfect system, but, like, it's not just gay couples that do that. It's also infertile straight couples.
No. So in the Michael Knowles video, when he was going over it, he specifically said, there are other people who use this, but I want to focus on the gay men.
Yeah, of course you do, because you're a fucking homophobe. 3
or 4 times he had to say, I want to focus on the gay men specifically. And I just sat there going, like, so what about a cis couple that's infertile? Because the last time I remember having that conversation, the person I was talking with, Mike Winger, just had to go, that's different.
Why?
No, the fuck it's not. It's
Why is
the
that
same
different?
shit.
Yeah, no. Renting someone's, like, paying someone for surrogacy, that does have issues. But, like, it's not inherent to whether the couple that's paying them is gay or straight. It does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
And Senshini says, understand, Christian, that's what time it is. What does that even mean? I think that's a reference to, like, the doomsday clock thing, where, like, every now and then you get those scientists that, like, get up and be like, ooh, we are, like, 1 minute to midnight now, in an attempt to, like, get people to pay attention to something like climate change or nuclear proliferation.
They're trying to say that it is the time for action is now because we've hit a point of no return, and this is our evidence that we've hit a point of no return. Is what the best I can glean from that. I'm not versed enough. I am 15 years divorced from young Earth creation, conservative Christendom, so I'm not perfectly versed in the language anymore.
Yeah. So Dr. Scott Sullivan says, those who assert something can come into existence without a cause need ridicule, not an argument. Who asserts that? I don't know of anyone who asserts that.
Yeah, last I checked, when we talk about the singularity, it kind of was just always there is the best we have, right?
Yeah, and, like, in my experience, every response to the Kalam cosmological argument, which, if you're not familiar, that's the one where it's like, everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist, therefore the universe has a cause. Every single response to that that's not from a Christian is like, yeah, okay, the universe has a cause. So let's investigate that fucking cause. It looks like it's not a fucking god.
Yep. No, not to mention that the Kalam was also not even built for Craig's god.
It was built just to get away from the special pleading required by the original cosmological argument.
Yeah.
Because the original cosmological argument is basically like, You know, I define God this way, therefore God exists. Like it was defining God into existence based on stuff exists.
Spoiler alert, we've heard this argument 12 billion times because William Lane Craig won't shut up about it.
Yeah, no, and the Kalam cosmological argument, I agree that it is a sound argument.
Doesn't make it valid.
I would agree that it's a valid argument.
Just that you can't point it to a specific cause.
That's the thing, is that like it just says like things that exist require a cause. Great. I agree. What's the fucking cause? God? Why? Because reasons. That's not good enough.
But the reasons are in the Bible, don't you know?
See,
Jesus died for them.
The people that say that God didn't do it have a bunch of fucking math backing them up. The people who say that God did it have a bunch of fucking sophistry backing them up. Like, I'm sorry, I'm going to trust the guys that use math instead of the guys who use word games.
They're not using word games. What are you talking about? They're very trustworthy. They've just...
They talk about
the reason all the time.
I'm talking about the reason I have never covered William Lane Craig directly on my channel is because you have to work so fucking hard to decode what he's saying. And when you finally do that, it turns out he has said nothing. That is why I've never covered William Lane Craig, because like that's a lot of work to be like, oh, he actually didn't say anything.
I don't remember if I have covered him.
I know Zod has covered him in a guest video on my channel, and
that's because Zod has a whole series based around him.
Yeah,
though.
Zod kind of specializes in it. But I have also like I've covered some videos that are on the Reasonable Faith channel that are like his bread and butter kind of thing, but it's like made more approachable. But like I don't cover Craig directly because he uses a lot of big complicated words and topics that I'd have to spend a lot of time explaining to say nothing, literally nothing.
I just find him boring.
That too.
I'm gonna be honest. I just think he's boring, and it's very hard for me to pay attention long enough to debunk him because I find him boring. That's why I have a bunch of tweets from Cameron that I wanted to go over, and I didn't end up getting to it for computer explode reasons. I find him boring. And it's hard for me to want to respond to somebody when the things they are saying are so thoroughly uninteresting.
Oh, that's one thing. I'm working on a video now. It's a video listicle, basically, which like things that I think don't make sense about Christianity. And in one of the things I reference an article on Capturing Christianity's website, where it talks about the response to the argument for divine, like the argument against God from divine hiddenness. It's a response to that. And as their response, they're basically like, well, you know, if you define love in the way that the people that use the divine hiddenness thing define love, then yeah, it's a valid argument. But like, that's not how God defines love. God can be a selfish dick who works for his own ends at the expense of our well-being.
It's because
that
God's
can still
agape.
Count as love.
I mean, agape.
Yes, it's just wild. They just like flat out be like, yeah, no, God's love sucks from our perspective because he's working for his own ends. It's like, okay,
his ends are more important than our ends.
That kind of works toward like that kind of works in favor of my saying that this doesn't make any sense. Also, his website was down today. Like, I don't know why, but it just made me chuckle a little bit. So, like, I had to access this website through
Archive.
Yeah, the Wayback Machine.
Yeah, I think it's literally just called Internet Archive now, though, isn't it?
I still call it Wayback.
Fair.
Anyway, that one is the last tweet. So we did indeed get to 10:30. Yay, long stream.
I like it when streams are long. I mean, what?
Oh, someone sent something. Oh, gifted subscription. Someone whose name is bouncing around faster than I can read it gifted someone else whose name is bouncing around faster than I
Ravalern gifted Axo. Axolotls of cream.
Axolotl.
I recognize them because they are viewers of my stream, so I brain putting letters together quickly.
Yeah, that's I mean, I have 27 viewers right now on Twitch. That's like the most I've ever had. So the fact that your stream is down is good for me.
Well, I'm happy that my misfortune has worked out in your favor.
You should try it more often.
should try it more often.
Go to Surus's Patreon because he's fucking amazing.
I have to.
What's your Patreon? Tell me your Patreon.
I don't know my Patreon link.
Patreon.com/something.
Hold on.
Surus. Patreon.com/fuck Surus in the ass.
Oh, it's /Surus Skeptic.
There we go. Patreon.com/Surus Skeptic.
You don't have to do that. Brain, why did my brain just misfire? I had a thought and it just disappeared.
ADHD. I'm diagnosing you now. This is your official diagnosis.
I went on a tangent on stream today about like, hey guys, I have a question. How many times have I told you that I'm starting a project and then I get 1 or 2 episodes out of that project and then it disappears and for no reason and we just have no idea why it's there? Neither do I.
It's been like 4 years. No, it's been like 2 or 3 years since my last Evidence for Evolution series video, and I said I was going to continue that series.
I need to do another Dangers of Woo video. I need to do another Anime Exposed video. I have like 11 episodes in both of them, and I just haven't. So I don't know what's wrong.
There are people in my chat being like, Surus, let people love you. All right, so in my video that I'm working on now, it's a listicle video, which are the 10 reasons why I think Christianity doesn't make sense. In one of the things about hell and how it doesn't make sense as a punishment because like good people get the same punishment as Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
I like try and promote myself as being a good person. So I describe things like I raised $72,000 for charity and I did this and I did that. And it's like, it was super uncomfortable for me to write good things about myself. Cause like I've always had self-esteem issues where like, no, I can't be that good. And so like to write a paragraph where I'm like, no, I'm actually fucking great. It's like, that doesn't, I don't, no, that feels wrong.
It feels skeezy.
Yes, it does.
It feels, because it's like when somebody tells me like, hey, your streams are really good. And like, I talked at a camera. I read an article and I gave my opinion on it. That anybody can do that. What are you talking about?
So Dark Excalibur 42 says, so you guys should trade on those scripts. Make Surus say the nice things about you and you say the nice things about Surus. The problem with that is apparently a lot of people think our voices sound alike, so it would just come off as the same way either way. But also like from a therapeutic perspective, because I have self-esteem issues, it would be good for me to say these things out loud myself about myself. So that like when someone else says it to me, I might actually be able to believe that.
You can associate it with you writing it out yourself.
Yeah. Because like my partner tells me all the time, like, oh, you're such an amazing person and you're so sexy and you're great and everything. I'm just like, I'm not sure that I believe you.
That's how I am.
And
I get told things I've done, and in my brain, they were automatic things that I just felt needed to happen at the time. And then later people are like, hey, that had impact on me. And how?
No, that's one of the key things in my little paragraph that I have is like, I keep getting messages from people that are like, your videos mean so much to me. Like, I'm an atheist living in a very heavily religious area, and you make me feel like I'm not alone. I'm an LGBTQ person living somewhere where I'm not accepted for who I am, and you make me feel like I have a place. And I'm just like,
I just make videos and I put them on the internet.
I'm just like following my hyper-focus, man. Like, I'm so fucking happy that other people are finding value in what I'm doing. But it's like, it's just like, I don't know. I have a hard time with the idea that like, I'm actually bringing anything to the table other than like, hey, you belong here.
Yeah. I get it. It goes back to the whole, like the Illuminati conversation we had from before, where you look at other people's work and you go, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do this as good as this is.
I'm doing that with H-Bomber Man right now.
It's like, I wish I could produce this. And then you you realize, oh, the scenario that allowed that to be produced is completely different than the scenario you're in. And in some cases, it's that person is abusive, or that person is exploitative, or that person is stealing. In some cases, you're like, oh, that's why they're able to produce at such a rapid rate with everything. Like they are doing what takes me a week to do. Because when my last Dangers of Who episode, I think, was the last video that I made in a very edited style, either that or the Jordan Peterson conservative video. But both of those videos took several days.
So I have to say, we're getting a lot of love pouring out from people right now. Like Van Briggs 333 is saying, "Dear VR and Surus, you both are very helpful to people like myself. We all love you." Sanchini has been like, "Surus and Pelagia made me search for primary sources more often." Vice Rhino, I'm sure if you spend 12 months on one video, you could make a 4-hour H-bomb. Okay, fair point. He spends a lot more time on his videos than I do.
Yeah, he can afford to, though, is the other thing.
All these people are like writing super nice, positive messages about both of us right now. And then we get to Mark Fernkopf, who says, "And now my girlfriend has found DDLG Playground." Thank you, Cyrus. Thank you, sir. And Dark Falcon says, "Thank you, Cyrus, for pointing me to DDLG Playground." It's like, hey, if we can bring fulfillment to your life, we are perfectly happy. And if DDLG Playground is what does that for, use coupon code Cyrus.
Just make
and
sure
then
you're
if there's a place
fulfilled.
to put notes and be like, "Vice Rhino helped with the sale, please sponsor him as well."
Jesus Christ. I'll send I do need to send that email and be like, "Hey, is there a way to get another?"
I am fucking joking about that. Like,
I can't tell.
No, like if they've ended the sponsorship program, I'm not going to expect you to be like, "Hey, no, you need to revive it just for my friend."
Revive it for this other content creator. He'll bring the furries, trust me.
Yeah, I do bring the furries, don't I?
Your avatar brings all the furries to the yard.
Okay, so I think that's it for tonight. Thank you guys for your heartwarming messages. They do help. I'm sure I speak for both of us to say it's really nice to see, and it does help with our imposter syndrome a little bit.
A little bit.
Although it'll never go away, really.
No, I've had the experience of being in a room with a bunch of other creators who I respect going, "I don't deserve to be here." And I've had that experience like 5 separate times. It doesn't fucking go away.
No, it does not. All right. So thank you so much for joining me. Thanks everybody for watching. And as always, fuck off.